What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Olympic gold medalist, retired Hall of Fame iconic superstar boxer, turned boxing pundit, and analyst, Andre S.O.G. Ward, superstar boxer, retired fairly early in his career. 32 wins, no losses, no draw. 16 wins by way of knockout, 6 feet tall with a 71-inch arm, excuse me. Andre Ward is a 2-division world champion, retired undefeated. Andre Ward is a boxing analyst for ESPN. Andre Ward did an interview in which he was asked about the highly anticipated undisputed welterweight showdown not coming to fruition between undefeated unified 3-belt WBC, WBA, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is widely considered to be top 2, number 1 in some people's eyes, top 5 for sure, definitely, and ERROL the True Spence Jr., who is 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, an undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered to be number 1 best pound-for-pound boxer in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is 38 wins, no losses, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. So that fight is not going to come to fruition. Errol Spence is actually going to announce his fight this upcoming week, and Terrence Crawford is going to fight December 10th against David Avanesian, and they look to revisit the negotiations to make a fight and stage the fight in the early part of 2023. With that said, Andre Ward was asked, what's next? We already know what's next for Terrence Crawford, David Avanesian, December 10th, Omaha, Nebraska. What's next for Errol Spence? Is it going to be his WBA mandatory challenger, and Amanda Stanionis, who is undefeated, Lithuanian star boxer, 14 wins, no loss, no draw, 9 wins by way of knockout, 28 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach? Or is it going to be undefeated IBF welterweight superstar title contender, mandatory challenger in superstar boxer Jaron Ennis, who is 29 wins, no loss, no draw, 27 big wins by way of knockout, 25 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach? And is it going to be maybe even former unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman? So Andre Ward, he says, we know who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Jaron Ennis. He said they're not going to give, Errol Spence is not going to give him an opportunity, and neither one of these guys, Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, is going to give Jaron Ennis the opportunity. And he said rightfully so, because they see the writing on the wall. They know he's a high risk, and they want to settle their differences before they give him an opportunity. So he says that he believes that Jaron Ennis is the goods, like everybody else believes he may be the goods. He said Jaron Ennis obviously has to, show and prove. There's some things that he's going to have to get tested with to, confirm that with the fans. He says that I had to go through it. Many fighters have to go through it, and he's no different, right? But he says that Errol Spence's next announcement in his next fight is definitely not going to be Jaron Ennis. We know Jaron Ennis' father, trainer, manager, Bozy Ennis. He let the world know they petitioned the International Boxing Federation, better known as the IBF, President Mr. Peoples, to be the mandatory. Okay, since Errol Spence is not fighting Terrence Crawford, everybody was reserved and on hold because that's the fight that everybody wants to see, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And since that fight is not going to come to fruition right now, so now you have Amanda Stanionis petitioning WBA. Now the World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza, and we know Amanda Stanionis is the WBA regular champion. Keith Thurman, former unified WBC, WBA welterweight world champion, superstar boxer. He is the WBC, World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Suleiman, on the board of 32 members. He's the mandatory for that sanctioned body, okay? And with that said, it looks like it's boiling down to Keith Thurman or Amanda Stanionis. The WBC has been allowed by the other sanction bodies to leapfrog them. Like I said and stated in my last video, that the WBC should have been number 3 for mandatories for Errol Spence, right? In all actuality, Errol Spence the last time he satisfied his IBF mandatory was Carlos Ocampo in 2018. So he's actually only satisfied his mandatory one time since winning the fight May of 2017 against former IBF welterweight world champion, British superstar boxer Keith Special K Kell Brook. So he beat Special K Kell Brook in May of 2017. He defended it in the mandatory against Carlos Ocampo in 2018, and he hasn't had a mandatory since then. So in all actuality, the IBF and Jaron Ennis should be number 1 on the list, okay? And then Amanda Stanionis, who's the WBA regular champion and was already slated to fight the WBA super champion and former WBA welterweight world champion Cuban star boxer Yordenis Ugas. Okay, Yordenis Ugas lost to Errol Spence, but Stanionis was slated to fight Yordenis Ugas, okay? So, miraculously, the WBC was allowed to leapfrog the IBF and the WBA to make Keith Thurman the mandatory challenger for Errol Spence Jr., okay? And with that said, now Andre Ward said, we know you could scratch Jaron Boots Ennis off that list of opponents that's going to fight Errol Spence next. And he said rightfully so. And I want to see Jaron Boots Ennis get his opportunity. Andre Ward said he wants to see him get his opportunity as well. But Jaron Ennis could very well derail the biggest fight in boxing. And I know people are going to say, well, if he has the ability to derail the biggest fight, quote unquote, in boxing, then that means he deserves to be in that position. And I agree, because that means he can challenge either one of those guys for that title. And I agree. The thing is, when you have been in a fan's position and you have been clamoring for a certain fight, certain meal, right? Now you want to try that meal, right? You have filet mignon, you have different cuts of high quality steak, right? But if you've been waiting all this time for years now to taste filet mignon, that doesn't mean, right, that it's the best. It can't be rivaled, is what I'm saying. It just means that you've been waiting all this time to try the filet mignon. Not that you don't want to try the other cuts of grade A steak, okay? But right now, you want to test that filet mignon, then you get to the other steaks. Okay, not that the other steaks are not as high quality as the filet mignon cuts, right? But it's just that you've been already set on this filet mignon, so you want to get that, and then once you have it, right, you can make your decision, and you can judge. Okay, let me try this one now, and that's where the fans are when it comes to Jaron Boots Ennis, right? Because the fans understand the threat that Jaron Boots Ennis presents to both Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Jaron Boots Ennis is big, strong, aggressive, powerful, like Errol Spence, technically sound. And he's elusive, rangy, versatile, light on his feet, and mobile like Terrence Crawford, power in both hands, right? So he has the best of both of their worlds, right? But none of their weaknesses, I always say. Errol Spence is not seen to be the athlete that Terrence Crawford is, just mobile. He's more fundamentally sound, more flat-footed, and he's more, cut and dry, black and white, right? Where Terrence Crawford is more mobile. He's more elusive, right? He's more, versatile. It comes off power in both hands, switch from southpaw to orthodox, extremely long arms, right? But he's not as big and strong as Errol Spence. So Jaron Boots Ennis is a melting pot of both of them, right? Although I know Jaron Ennis doesn't like those comparisons, but just to give a description to the fans of that may not be familiar with Jaron Boots Ennis, he's a mixture of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, all their strength and none of their weakness. So you put him in the ring with Terrence Crawford, he's much bigger, much stronger, and then Terrence Crawford, fundamentally sound, but he could do everything Terrence Crawford could do, right? And you put him in the ring with Errol Spence, he's big as Errol Spence, if not bigger, but he has that mobility, the quickness, the switch from southpaw to orthodox, power in both hands, angles of Terrence Crawford. And so I always liken it to that movie Underworld, when you got the Lycans and you got the vampires, right? And they came together and they made that the super villain, I want to call him, where he was a mixture of both of them. He's Blade, right? He's the Daywalker. He could do everything they could do, but had none of their weaknesses. He's the Daywalker, right? And so you're taking a huge risk not being able to ever taste that filet mignon by tasting this cut of meat, and may not ever allow you to even get to that filet mignon that you've been preparing for years. And so I understand what Andre Ward is getting at, and I understand overall. But I do want to see Jaron Boots Ennis get his opportunity. And since the WBC is pushing this Keith Thurman fight, now I know Errol Spence on the record saying he'll never fight Keith Thurman. I think we may just get the Keith Thurman fight, right? Or it could possibly be a Manny Stanionis. But one thing we know, as Andre Ward said, it ain't going to be Jaron Boots Ennis. Maybe we get a surprise, and maybe it is Jaron Boots Ennis. Who knows? But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like the shitty videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.